I am going to do for you today a phlebotomy stick using a butterfly. I know, I've always said that I am not a fan of butterflies, and I am not. However, I do want to do this because I get a lot of requests for the butterfly stick. So, in order to have this draw go properly, these are the things that you will need. You will need your hub, your vacutainer holder. Of course, you're going to need your butterfly, your 23 gauge or your 21. You guys know that I am fond of the 21s. So this is a 21 gauge. Tourniquet, your gauze, and of course your alcohol, and of course your tape and or a band-aid. And I'm using a band-aid today because we are all out of tape. And one other thing I left out, which is major, are your tubes that you're going to collect. I'm using these just to go in the correct order of draw for you guys because these are pretty, what's my word, basic. You'll see these all the time, your red, your green, your lavender, and your gold. Of course, that's not the order of draw here. It's going to be red, gold, green, and lavender. So that's your order of draw for these tubes. Red, gold, green, lavender. Okay? So we are going to prep the patient. Let me start over because this is what I mainly do first. I'm going to actually remove my gloves because the subject that I'm using today is, of course, a volunteer. And we are just, it's, of course, a volunteer. And I want to show you guys how I actually start my procedure when I have someone sit in the chair. So when they sit in the chair, I'm talking to them and I'm assessing the arm. So of course you do not stick by sight, but you do look at your patient just to basically see what you're working with. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know, you've got some nice veins here, but I cannot go, and this is me actually talking to the patient. I tell the patient that, you know, I can't stick you by from what I actually see. We have to actually feel the vein. So once I get the tourniquet on, of course about 3 inches up from the actual site, then of course I start here first. I always told you guys that, and then I'll check the side, and then of course your vein over here. Yeah, that's always last resort for me. And once I find my vein, I release that tourniquet. I then apply my gloves after, of course, sanitizing my hands. That's always number one. And apply my gloves. It sounds backwards, but yes, you do sanitize your hands with the Purell or whatever you guys have. Apply your gloves, and then, of course, 3 inches above that site that you just found, apply your tourniquet. Prep your site. Some people may do this. That's okay, because then you wipe, but you do not repalpitate that site. So once you clean that site, it's ready. Our 21 gauge butterfly. So once that's done, your hub, of course, goes on the bottom of the actual, the butterfly goes into the bottom of the actual hub. And of course you guys know that that screws in. Once you have it in, your butterfly is now ready for a stick. This thing is still adjusting. So now in for the stick. Sometimes you can have your patient just lift their arm, and there are arms that you actually put under the patient. I don't have that. However, I will get one and show you guys in the future. But we are going to go ahead with our stick here. And you remove your little cap, find your site, you go in, bam. Order of draw, red, and you've got your flow, gold, and did you see how quickly it flowed? Right in the vein. Green and lavender. So with the butterfly, you know, it doesn't matter which hand you use. You've got that leverage to go from your left to your right, etc., etc. I'm on that last tube. I can release my tourniquet. Actually, I could have released it sooner because the flow was so well. I'm going to invert all of my tubes, which I should have been doing as they were coming out of the holder, but to tell you guys properly, of course, each tube that you remove, you invert it. So make sure you invert all of your tubes. Now that we're done, of course, the butterfly has a device on it that you press to actually retract the needle. So you cover your site, you retract your needle by, I'm gonna try to zoom in here so you guys can kind of get a sense of this little device. It's really small, it doesn't like protrude out or anything, but you press it while you're holding a gauze over the actual site. You don't have to actually press down on the site, but just put it there, and then when you release, you hear that click. That means there should not be a needle there when you pull that butterfly out of the vein, and there isn't, because it's a retractable device for safety. Now you guys notice I didn't use my wings that much. It's just habit for me. It's by choice if you want to use them or not. For me, it's just easy. I use one side of the wing. I don't use them both. But for me, it's easy. It may be easier for you to use both. But after that, you can ask the patient, would you please hold some pressure there while you discard your... He's going to be Scooby-Doo today. We have a Scooby-Doo Band-Aid. And patients, they don't mind holding the site because I tend to put too much pressure on the site. So sometimes I'll say, you hold that, because when I press down, people say I press too hard. And you can say, I got it. At this point, a little more pressure if you like, which I like to do just to ensure that, yes, it has. If you guys have any questions, please ask me in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please thumbs up, please subscribe, and let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.